Lucas Van Ness Week 12 return throws curveball in Packers defensive plans. The Green Bay Packers are walking into another bruising NFC North showdown against the Minnesota Vikings this Sunday. And these are the types of games that define seasons and shape identities, especially when every divisional matchup carries weight far beyond the standings. These games are emotional battles layered with history, intensity, and the constant pressure of proving who truly belongs at the top of the division. And right now the Packers find themselves facing a twist that could reshape their entire defensive approach, because help is finally coming back to the trenches. Head coach Matt LaFleur met with reporters on a cold Friday morning before practice and revealed that the plan is to have defensive end Lucas Van Ness back on the field for the first time since Week 6. His return is more than a simple personnel boost. It is a ripple effect that spreads through every layer of the defensive depth chart, forcing the coaching staff to reconsider accommodations, timing, responsibilities, and matchups. In other words, his presence gives the Packers strength, but it also complicates a system that has been forced to adapt without him for more than a month. Van Ness suffered the foot injury in Week 6 when he brought down Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Flacco with a strong and punishing sack. That moment, which should have been a highlight, quickly turned into a setback, as Van Ness was forced into weeks of limited practice, unable to trust that foot enough to explode the way he normally does. Before that injury, he had already stacked up 160 snaps across 5 games and recorded 11 total tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 1.5 sacks, while showing steady growth and powerful flashes of the player the Packers expect him to become during his recovery. Kingsley Enagbare stepped into a larger role, carving out meaningful playing time and proving he could be a reliable and at times disruptive option on the edge. Since Week 7, he has logged at least 40% of the defensive snaps in every game, and even outsnapped Gary in the Packers' previous victory. LaFleur explained the unusual snap distribution was a product of the game flow, and that Gary has never been a massive snap count guy, but even so, this situation adds complexity to a room already rich with talent, competition, and ego. The defensive line is anchored by star pass rusher Micah Parsons, the undisputed alpha presence whose energy, attitude, and relentless pressure set the tone for the entire front. But now the real storyline becomes how the snaps will be distributed among Parsons, Gary Van Ness, and Enagbare. Add to that equation Colby Wooden, who has quietly stacked up 350 snaps, including 7 games with more than half of all defensive snaps, and the rotation becomes even more crowded. The coaching staff now faces a delicate balance between maximizing talent and maintaining chemistry. Having a deep stable of pass rushers is a luxury in the NFL, a weapon that wears down offensive lines and becomes even more lethal late in games when opposing blockers are exhausted. It keeps legs fresh and allows the defense to stay aggressive through all 4 quarters. But the challenge lies not in quantity, but in harmony. Gary is headed toward a massive $25.7 million cap hit in 2025, and conventional wisdom would suggest that a player with that investment should see heavy usage alongside Parsons, except that the recent snap counts tell a different story, and last week highlighted that disconnect more clearly than ever. Van Ness was performing at a strong level before the injury, so the coaching staff will not rush him, but they will absolutely look for ways to fold him back in without disrupting the rhythm the line has built over the past several weeks. And this is where the real intrigue begins, because no matter how many snaps exist, there are only so many that can be given out, and not every player will walk away satisfied. The Packers have a line filled with players they trust, players who want bigger roles, players who believe they deserve to be on the field when the game is on the line. And soon everyone will see which of them gets pushed aside, which of them fights their way into the rotation, and which of them rises when the team needs it most. The return of Lucas Van Ness is not just a change in personnel. It is a shift in momentum, a disruption to the established rhythm, and a challenge that could reveal how this Packers defense evolves in the final stretch of the season. Every decision, every snap, and every rotation will matter, because the Packers are still shaping who they will be when the season hits its peak intensity. And for a team in the thick of an NFC North battle, every piece of the puzzle matters more than ever. What do you think, fans? Does this return change everything for the Packers defense? Let me know your thoughts, and do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the latest updates and analysis.